figure it out. Don't believe in Jesus Christ, don't match the man up in the sky. I'm an atheist, Lord. Don't believe in fairy tales, I don't need a book to play by. Teach me about good and evil. I'm a disbeliever, yeah. I'm no deceiver, yeah. I disagree with your worldview. I want to argue with you on the internet all day. I think it's kind of scary, and my bias isn't funny, but I can't stop no matter how hard I try. I'm a YouTube streamer, yeah. Oh, I'm a content creator, yeah. To tell you what I believe, just believe everything else about me, 'cause I'm slightly narcissistic. Well, this is interesting. I lost that thing I had in my pocket. Gotta be around here somewhere, right? Ain't that about a bitch? Sure has wheels, damn it. Oh, there it is. All right. All right. So, this has been interesting. Yeah, we're just gonna do a lazy Sunday stream. I was trying to sleep the whole fucking day away. I almost did. We just kept on sleeping. Nothing really important to do. So I figured we'll just do the stream. And on the phone because nothing else for me to do. What's up, Tubman? Good to see you. That was the jam live on YouTube. You can catch the video of that on Kevin Montini Music Channel if you don't know. Want to apologize for my outburst last night. You know, I mean, it's not fair to all the people who get really good head, you know, and like most of my sexual experience, I've got good blowjobs. So it kind of, you know, when people do, you know, lazy oral sex, and especially when it's on the internet. I mean, come on, like if you're gonna put that shit on Pornhub, I mean, you might as well put some effort into it, right? I mean, that's my gripe. I really, you know, but I guess some people they just get so, you know. I've been fortunate, you know. I've had some really, you know, even though I haven't had any sex in a while, you know, when I did have sex, I had really good sex for the most part, and so I can't complain about that. uh, I've still never been with a sex worker, so there's that part. Maybe I'd have better sex if I paid a sex worker. You know, maybe I don't know. It's just a thought. Other than that, you can try and convince me God exists or monkeys aren't real or whatever your thing is. Yeah, I've been really, really groggy. So I started taking like melatonin. My mom gave me some melatonin gummies like the middle of last week. And like the first 2 nights, I was like thinking, like these things don't really do shit. Like, and that's what I always thought before. Like, yeah, melatonin's kind of weak. Like, doesn't really do much. Oh, editing videos, cool, cool. Yeah, congratulations on the new album, with you, Kendra, man. Lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the melatonin. So I started taking the melatonin, and so the first couple of days I was like, yeah, there's not much to this. And then like day 3, I think I'm on day 5 now, day 4. Yeah, so I've just been really drowsy. So I figure that stuff must have like a half life or something, you know. Yeah, there's probably different styles there. I mean, you know, some dudes prefer the handy. I mean, some dudes, I don't know, you know, like I've just got, you know, my personal preferences. After looking at it, I was like, I remembered why I don't really look at porn anymore. Because it's like after 3 videos, I was like, this is boring. Like, I'm not just going to keep searching for a video that's not fucking boring to me. I just use the faculties of my imagination. It'll be great. And it was. And it was. My mind works so much better. See, I'm going to see if I start getting if I have less grogginess after a couple of days of not taking these melatonin gummies and see what happens with that. Yeah, valerian root. I also I had a turkey sandwich the other day, and I hardly ever eat turkey. It was the same thing from the tryptophan, I guess. And a turkey sandwich, like I almost passed out after lunch. I was like, oh yeah, this turkey's working good. So maybe I could just eat a turkey burger before I try to pass out or something. You know, it'd be great. So I found this on the street. I'm not going to show you, but I find all the good drugs on the street. So it's really cocaine this time. Not something else. Such a minute quantity that it won't do anything, but I can't smell it. Yep. I think it's that Fetty shit again. So I guess the Fetty's like a white powdery substance too, and it looks a lot like cocaine, but it is not cocaine. It does not give you anything like cocaine. What's up, Silver Wolf? Good to see you. So yeah, I'm stuck on the damn phone. When the library opens up tomorrow, I'll go back in there, see if they have a hotspot for me. Check out a damn book. Oh yeah, it's over there. I've been reading it. Actually, it's a shorter one. Clive Kessler book. It's a newer one he did with another guy. It's called Marauder. Pretty cool so far. It's kind of like watching an action movie, you know, only you're reading it. It's pretty much the same gist, like a bunch of like special ops guys on secret missions to destroying terrorist plots, and it's really cheesy. Like that shit doesn't ever happen in real life. Not very often anyway. So, but you know, it's fun. It's good for an action book, I guess. Is this the same one? I'm not sure. I'll have to see. Might be the same one. Trying to see how much music I have on here. Yeah, that's the same one. That's the video though. I thought I had more music on here I could play, just to have something playing because I don't really have a whole lot of media. Other than this, I was just gonna kind of maybe possibly go back to watching an old school DVD if I can get the camera set up right. I still have a couple of old black and white flicks I want to check out. Here's some with these ones are older. Let's see, I haven't listened to these in a while. Non-copyright music, yay! By me. Woo. You're still stuck somewhere that you don't want to be. I'm always stuck somewhere I don't want to be. Actually, that's not true because right now I'm at home, and so you know that's cool. I like being here, but you know generally, I'm most of the time I'm stuck where I don't want to be. it out. JIB. I don't think I ever released this one. I'll tell you why I didn't release this, because I'm tuning in between. This is just an instrumental jam, but it was fun. I think I was having fun. It's a pretty good roach that I found. Well, it was like half a doobie. See, I find shit like this all the time. Like half a doobie, I found this drug baggie, which is probably not cocaine. Shit, it might be aspirin. Not cocaine. See, I was looking forward to getting like the tingly tongue. I was looking forward to that. If I don't get that. We don't get that. Shit, I think I was trying to buy cocaine like 2 years ago, and they're like, "We don't know where to get cocaine. Here's some meth." Something bit me like night before last. I just found it yesterday. I've got like a whole series of bites along the back of my neck, like just under my hairline. They're annoying the shit out of me. Yeah, federal agencies are no joke, man. Listening to the yeah, no. Meth is bad for you. I spent most of yesterday trying to explain to people because, like, they ask you, like, when you're looking at like treatment centers, and they're like, "Well, what is your main thing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm a drunk now. Like, I used to do meth, but that's not a problem anymore. Like, I could turn meth down every day of the week. Like, that used to be my problem, but it's not anymore." But as soon as you say that, they're like, "Ah, we got a meth hit." I'm like, no, no, you don't. You really don't. But you can't really articulate this. It's hard to explain this to people who haven't been there or done that. Like, no, that ship sailed and I got over it. Now I'm on a different boat. And but they don't hear that. I've got these tiny little Legos. They're just I found these. I've only got like a few bricks, and then like these small ones, which I think is cool. They've got like they're super tiny. I've never seen Legos this small. Starting an internet radio show that caters to the underground. That's an excellent idea. There's many online DJs out there, just kind of playing the same old stuff, and it's hard if you can find good independent music, um, and stuff that you've created yourself. Yeah, I'm all for that. I love it. I think it's a great idea. I think more artists should be doing their own radio shows and hosting artists that they learn about, because we're the people who are on the street. We're the ones who are going to find out first. It's not going to be some record exec. It's going to be some other musician, and you're like, "Hey, have you heard of so and so?" And then yeah, like we're the ones who are going to promote ourselves and each other. It's not going to be those other guys. They're only going to do what's profitable for them, whatever comes to their attention. And I really don't think they don't have a true appreciation of the effort, the sacrifice that artists make to keep putting stuff out. Like, and sometimes if they change stylistically, people say, "Oh, well, they sold out. They're doing a different brand now." It's like, no, like that's what artists do. They change and they grow, and their art changes with them. I don't know. It's not a saying, but it's just blocks. Put them all together. Eventually, I'll make something out of these brown and gray blocks. A bunch of old videos I think I never released in here. Probably just me being drunk in the office for the most part. But see if there's anything worthwhile on here, then we'll listen to it. What hurdles you have to go through? Well, I can give you some idea, at least as far as any music that's under copyright. You're gonna have to undergo that whole thing. Yeah, they're not regular Legos. They're some kind of miniatures. They're pretty cool. I used to love Legos when I was a kid. Um, yeah, so I have to deal with copyright issues, like primarily. make sure you have good streaming service. Like if it's all audio, usually it's pretty easy. Like if I use Anchor FM or SoundCloud or one of those, like it's really straightforward uploading audio files. Going live on SoundCloud is a little more difficult, but Anchor makes it pretty easy. But since you are playing music, you're gonna want to check to make sure that there's no like buffering going on during the presentation, like because that's gonna fuck up your playlist. You know? But I mean, it should be pretty straightforward, I think. What's that game? Not too bad. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody should attempt art. I don't think everybody's going to be a great artist, but I think everybody can have artistic value, right? Like, and that's the way I see it. Like, you don't have to be freaking Van Gogh to do a good painting. You don't have to be Beethoven to write a good song. Like, that's not really the way it works. And like, we experience more of the world, and we empathize with others through their art. Like, that tends to be the way it happens, I think. So. Master track for that one. We're still going to release here. I still have them. I still have all the masters. I just haven't put everything together yet. That thing we were working on. Oh no. Doesn't it sound like that? Wake me up when it's all over. That is what I was trying to do. Yeah, never mind. I'm not going to play that. It's a shit show. I like that song though. I think it's great. Slipknot. Apparently, I went through the phase of doing covers here. Another version of Snuff. Three different versions of it here. Yeah, that's another one. I haven't looked through these files in forever, so I don't even have them labeled. They're just video 202211013. So that's the date. So it's 10/13 of last year. 13. These are all from the 13th. So apparently I made multiple attempts to record this cover of Snuff, which failed. Not even gonna speculate. The old cover of Kryptonite by Three Doors Down, which I do with one of my bands, by the way. Which we do excellent. Is it? Billy Bragg? I'm guessing. I think this one is released. Well, maybe not this one where I'm tuning. There's a video of this where that is up. funny. Ah! I don't think it's this version. I'm not sure.
In the morning and out to school, mother says there'll be no work next year. Qualifications is the golden rule. Mother pieces out paper. Just because you're better than me doesn't mean I'm lazy. Just because you're going forward doesn't mean I'm going backwards. 6 years trousers and your old school shoes. The truth is, son, it's a buyer's market. They can't vote, so pick and choose. Just because you're better than me doesn't mean I'm lazy. Just because you're not dressed like this doesn't mean I'm a communist. Factories are closing and the army's full. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've come to see in the land of the free. There's only room for a chosen few. Just because you're better than me doesn't mean I'm lazy. Just because you're going forward doesn't mean that I'm going backwards. 21 years on top of the scrap heap, 16 you were top of your class. The taught you at school was how to be a good worker. The system has failed you, don't fail yourself. Just because you're better than me doesn't mean you're not lazy. Just because you're not dressed like this doesn't mean I'm a communist. Just because you're better than me doesn't mean I'm lazy. Just because you're going forwards doesn't mean that I'm going backwards.
Oh yeah, that's why I didn't hit the vocal range at the end there, which is why I re-recorded it. It's not a bad version. Not the worst version. Lars Frederiksen and the Bastards do the best cover of that song though, which is where I originally heard it. Interesting. What's gonna happen now? I see a guitar in the picture. Oh, that's why. Okay. I don't even remember doing this.
I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. I never dreamed that I'd love somebody like See,
I was trying to layer on there, but Not happy with it. Yeah, Chris Isaac is spooky. He's a scary guy. Blessings be upon him. Oh shit. What else we have?
Alright.
I think this one is up on YouTube as well.
They say this man is going off the deep end. And I say yes, that's exactly where I have been. There was a time, it wasn't very long ago. Feels like an eternity has passed before my eyes. While I was asleep, my whole world slipped away from me. And I'm here hanging off the edge, hanging on by just a thread. And I'm the one who made this mess for me. I never thought that things would ever be this way, that I could have so little to say. But now I'm speechless, never to repeat this. Made the same mistake over and over again, day after day. For the rest of my life I will pay for the things that happened yesterday. Wasn't very long ago. Feels like an eternity has passed before my eyes. While I was asleep, my whole world slipped away from me. And I'm here, I'm hanging off the edge, hanging on just by a thread. And I'm the one who made this mess for me. I never thought that things would be this way, or that I could have so little to say, but it leaves me speechless. Yeah, now I'm speechless. They say this man is going off the deep end. I say yes, that's exactly where I've been. Leaves me speechless. Well, I will pay for all the things that happened yesterday. Now I'm speechless. Got nothing, no defense. I'm speechless. Yeah.
Rough spot on the paper. No, I don't fucked up. Fix that. So you just leave it all crookedy. I mean, it's a swirl anyway, so just have weird stuff in my swirls. That's all fucked up now. Just run with it. It'll be fine. I'll be looking at it closely anyway. Oh yeah, that one's already up. Project versions. There's probably a couple of those.
You never know until you try.
read. That didn't cut. That. These are from 12/21/2022. Was I in there that long? I feel like I was out of there by now. December. Doesn't seem right.
In the darkest tunnel, it's nice to see a light.
This says December 21st. What is that?
I want everything and nothing. I am insatiable, I am insufferable. Once I get what I think I want, pick it apart, flaw by flaw, till there's nothing left where my mind once was. Looking back on the life and the love that we took for granted, and it dried up and turned to dust.
Remember what I was thinking, I just don't
I
know
am
what we're doing.
everyone and no one. I am unconcerned, I never learn. Touch the flame till there's nothing left to burn. Feed away, feed the disease. Why are you calling me right now?
Somebody was calling me. The last line of the song, why are you calling me right now? And I stopped. Comments. Oh, the booklet, yes. Still working on the booklet. This is just like the back page, so still got the main comic strip, and then the back page is just kind of abstract with a bunch of weird shit on it. But yeah, basically the dude just running down the street, and then some kid gets shot in a drive-by shooting, and we don't know what's going to happen after that. I haven't written the story yet. You think I should make comic books? I used to when I was a kid. Alright. My last trips I took, I kept seeing horrible events play out in my imagination and keep concluding I wouldn't want to leave that blind mess behind. I can imagine that sounds like a bad trip. Oh, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I don't think I could sell my art, but thanks. I don't know who would buy it. I don't even know. I don't know. Maybe. Definitely need a good color for. Yeah, I need black and white, but I don't have any colors. I actually like that version of the song better, but apparently I thought I could do better. I mean, I definitely can do better. The lyrics must be somewhere around it. Yeah, and this one too. What's up, bro, Joe? Good to see you. And then there's this is the other back page. This is all like crazy shit. I start with the abstract, and then I just put in a few cubes, and then it's like, okay, this is my main character. And I just made the dude up. He's like some fiendish-looking guy with a mohawk.
Coming out of my head.
Oh! Ow! That's my voice solo. Ouch. And not in prime. Probably a few of those. Yeah, there's another one of those. Yeah, might be the last of them.
People demand more.
Yeah, just me doing tracking for a collaboration. It's not finished yet, but okay. And these audio files we've listened to, I guess. Do you have anything else on here? This one's from YouTube as well. Oh yeah, this is the Billy Bragg cover. I think is the version. No. Oh no, this is an AFI cover released for Patreon.
Just like cellophane, you try to fake so tight to me. You're to something. That's the last day. We were in the rain. Cold and it's alright to me. Going to the light and see right. So we gotta say hello. You just know what you see. The price to see the show. You don't know what you do. You've got the same. Just when I'm inspired, you dream the time right out me. Even when I'm tired, you must be from the amusement. Like a raging fire. What's left inside me? The inside. Right there, that's how so we gonna say just know what you see. Don't pay the price to see the show. You don't know all you do. You got the just stop to smile. Your eyes are real tonight. Emotions played around the world.
So yeah, that guy. I was trying to do that like stylistically because that guy has a really high voice. Like he sings the whole song. So we gonna say hello, but you don't know me. So I'm like, I'm trying to go down there, and he's up here. Amazingly talented vocalist, Davey Hammock. Just chilling before you start thinking about smacking someone in a second. Yeah, you should chill out before you smack people. I mean, but sometimes you just gotta harness that energy. Just take the energy and give them a quick one. Make sure it counts though. Don't leave them hanging. Make sure they remember that shit. Stuff to make a website for your art. I should too. No, violence is never the answer. I don't condone violence. I'm just saying that violence, it happens sometimes. Sometimes it's necessary. Like my boss, and I'm pretty sure this is why he don't fuck with me, right? Like, because he thought I was gonna attack him that night, and I was a considerable distance away from him. I made a point to stay across the room, and he tried to approach me. I walked the fuck away, but yeah, that's all I told him. You need to be respectful. You need to show me some fucking respect. But it must have been the look on my face or something, because he looked scared. He was like, calm down. I was like, I'm calm. I'm just telling you, you need to fucking respect me. Like, I ain't gonna put up with your bullshit. And once you just look people dead in the eyes and you tell them something like that, they reconsider their whole fucking shit. Unless they got some balls. But in which case, what's he gonna do? Again, he could have come at me, or he could call the boss, which is all he did. Call the boss. Try to be a fucking punk. Try to be a fucking punk. See what happens, right? Oh, it's your uncle. Not again. Yeah, just kick that guy out of the family. I mean, can't we just like ostracize these people? Oh wait, no. I mean, do your best. Do your best. I know it's a bunch of bullshit. Just walk away, really, if you have to. Like, that's the best maneuver. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. I know. It's like, actually, that might be a good intervention. Maybe one of his family members will touch him. You don't have anywhere you could just like go chill. Like, you don't have to be there, do you? I always think that's kind of bogus. Like, if I'm having problems with my family, I'll just fucking walk down the street. Like, but that's me. I'm a dude, Like, I know it's like maybe not necessarily something you're extremely comfortable with, but like I go hang out in an alleyway. Like, honestly, I just be like, fuck it. I run down here, grab a beer, and hit an alley. Done it many times. I don't know. It's just something I'm accustomed to. Not even when I'm just at home, but like anywhere. Like, really. Like, the only time I'm not exempt is when I'm at work. But other than that, like, I run away all the time. I'm a serial runaway. I may have a home, but I'll be like, I'll just hang out down the street down here if I'm feeling uncomfortable or upset for some reason. Whatever. Find a cozy spot. Public spaces, especially if you feel unsafe, because if somebody comes to get you in a public space, and you got that whole aspect too. Like, nope. Now we're out here in public. We have witnesses. I'll just call the cops. It's fine. Fucking come at me, fool. Let's take it down the street. Oh, my lungs are fucking haggard. I slept fucking. What the fuck is this? I don't know whose number this is. And I'm not going to take it. Yeah, I'll call him back. 916 number. I don't like that. That's Sacramento. On a Sunday afternoon? Who the fuck would be calling me from Sacramento on a Sunday afternoon? I can think of one person. I don't like the prospects very much. Yeah, the woods are a great place too. I love hanging out in the woods, being around nature. I haven't done that enough recently. Um, there's a spot I want to check out. It's not far from here, and so basically, I guess there's like a hill over here which overlooks the bay, right? Sort of ish, but you can't really see it because it's on the other side of a mall. But anyway, the mall is the Hilltop Mall, right? And so if you walk up the other side of the hill, there's like this big residential neighborhood, but then there's this giant fucking staircase and a row of what are those trees called? Madrones? I think they're madrones. can't look it up. Anyway, just these freaking gorgeous trees that we have out here, and they're lining the hilltops. You can walk up to the top of this staircase apparently and look down into the valley overlooking the bay. So it's not technically a valley. It's just like, but you know what I mean. It's like it drains downward, and there's just like this beautiful freaking gorgeous view. And I haven't checked it out yet. I want to go over there. It's in walking distance. It's definitely a couple miles, but it's just like just outside. Like it's in the city, but it's like just outside of everything here. So I want to go look at that. Like when I ride by on the bus, I see it. I'm like, that looks majestic. I should just get off and go walk up there, and I never do. But since my day off, I may have good opportunity to do so. Spam callers. No, see, unfortunately, I know that's probably not a spam caller, being that the time and day it is. It's probably just a number that I don't have saved in my phone. And now that makes me wonder and dread who it might be, because there's only maybe a handful of people with a number in that area that would call me, and unless somebody changed their number, but for the most part, I would have that number. So the fact that it is not in my contacts makes me very suspicious, especially considering I started shit, I guess, last week with my friends. Okay, so my friend who passed away last year, we just surpassed the death anniversary or whatever, the anniversary of his death. So I'd be getting out of jail probably like right about now. I don't know, next day or so, according to the timeline. What's up, Red Pill Matrix? And so his mom contacted me and asked me to reach out to people who knew him to try and get any type of photos, anything like that for just have a memorial thing. Something we could like post on Facebook, get pictures and stories about him and stuff like that. And I have very few of those, right? I lost most of that shit in storage last year. And I was blocked from his Facebook page and from our joint Facebook page for our band, right? By his wife, his fiance, whatever. They never legally got married, but I think they were a common law couple in California. And so she blocked me from all that shit after the memorial service and took my rights away to all that. So I don't even have access to my own posted Facebook music content because it was under his profile. And when she blocked me from all of those profiles, right? And so I reached out to everybody in my contacts who had known them, including her mom and my former boss, among a few other people. Another one of our bandmates started talking shit in the group text. And I was like, hey, it's not about that. We're not trying to assess blame here. We're just trying to get what we have of pictures and videos of the dude, right? But regardless, they kept talking shit about me, right? And I didn't say anything to them. I didn't, in fact, try to instigate things. I was like, hey, I just want to be neutral. I'm trying to get pictures and videos for his mom, right? But they kept talking shit about me, and so eventually I just left it alone. I didn't say anything, but a couple of people in that group chat acted like I was out of line. I didn't do anything out of line. Maybe the only thing I did out of line was including that other band member who was talking shit. Maybe I could have blocked him from the group chat, but I didn't do that, right? And then they're all talking shit about me, and I'm being fucking neutral. So it's like, yeah, all right, yeah, that's cool. You can do that. I don't know. Kind of trying to figure that out. Whether or not she claims that she didn't delete the profile, she just blocked me. But our other bandmate who was involved in the project, he can't see it either. Now it's possible she may have blocked him. But I mean, if you look up Civilized Beasts or Unholy Roman Empire, we should have Facebook pages up. If you can look those up, that'd be wonderful. I'd greatly appreciate it. Like pretty much, I just want to get the content that's up there, which is all public, which is just photos and videos of us. That's all it is. But it was all again was under his profile. So according to her, when she blocked us, that's why we don't have access to that content anymore. I'll type it in. Really, I just want to promote the shit too, but so I did take the time to write content with a person and put it out there. I mean, we were I consider it one of my most serious collaborative groups as far as when we wrote together. He would write the guitar parts. I would come in and write vocals, and I do lead guitars, and I write the drum and bass work when I had to. Like, but it was a fully collaborative effort. Like when he had an idea, like when we did Little Boots, he had written the lyrics and most of the guitar part, and then we had to put it together, and we sat there for like 2 days, just methodically playing the whole thing out so that we both kind of understood where we were going with it. As far as like we had a vision, and you don't get that all the time. So it should be in the chat there. Yeah, Civilized Beasts and Unholy Roman Empire. Civilized, yes. Semi-civilized beasts. Anyway. Oh, master. I really do. I get so much of my material from Carlin. It's not funny. Like half of my worldview just comes straight out of George Carlin's fucking head. That guy was a fucking genius. He was a fucking genius. I mean, come on. Appreciate it. Thank you, Tobin. Yeah, let me know if you do find anything. I mean, I would love to know that it's just still out there, that it hasn't been like deleted. But again, it's frustrating being the half brain of it and not having any access to it. It's like, oh, maybe it's there. We still have videos on YouTube on other channels, but it's just not the pages that we created together, which unfortunately had most of our actual like photos and stuff like that. Civilized, the Southern draw. Y'all need to be civilized. We's gonna civilize you, right? You stay around here long enough, you figure it out. Oh, concern. Let's take another hit off this marijuana. I found this roach on the ground, and it's actually pretty stinky. See, unroll it and I put it in my pipe. I don't smoke out other people's stuff like that, but just take the weed out of the paper and I put it in my little pipe here, and then people look at me like that strangely too, because sometimes if I'm broke and I'm out of cigarettes, I will pick up cigarette butts and I will unroll the tobacco into the paper, and I will roll my own cigarettes. Because you gotta do what you gotta do. And I'm not a bum. I don't like going around bumming cigarettes off people. It's a weird mentality, right? Like, I would rather wait for you to finish your cigarette and pick up the butt and then roll the tobacco than ask you for a cigarette. This is the nature of addiction. No. I wonder what else I can build with these few Lego pieces I have. I know there's got to be more combinations. Couldn't find anything about it except for me. That was my fear. I think she did. I don't know if she knows what she did. But because she had access to his phone and his social media when he died, and nobody else did, that was kind of my fear, was that she just outright deleted the content. Because I know that she got rid of his main guitar and amplifier, and then she gave me the other two, which were his old ones, which were basically just because they weren't of any value to sell, right? But I know also that right before he overdosed, that was what he called me in tears about, was the fact that he felt like he was going to be forced to sell off his guitar and amp just to make financial ends meet. And I was like, well, it doesn't seem like that's necessary. Like your girlfriend can sell some of her tools that she never uses or something. Maybe one of your vehicles can go, but why are you selling your guitar? That doesn't make any sense. You're not even going to get very much money out of it. and and so I do wonder. I fear whether or not he sold it before he died. Maybe that was the reason, because he definitely had a sense of guilt about it. But once he had his mind made up, he was resolved to do something. He's that type of person. That's what he's going to do. Um, Pretty hard pressed to talk him out of it, really. So, yeah. So the content may be gone. As I said, we still have videos and stuff up on YouTube. But I'm the asshole in this situation, apparently, for reaching out to people who knew him and asking for any remembrance, any type of memoirs they had or whatever. And I'm an ass. So that's fine. I take that one on the nose. It's all good. I was pretty much already the resident asshole before that situation, so I don't think that changed anything. It's just like, oh, a year later, yeah, Kevin's still an asshole. Okay, all right, we'll run with that. But I did, I pitched I made a fucking scene at his memorial service, and I keep telling you, if you knew the guy, if he would have been there alive, because he wasn't there in any capacity. But if he would have been there, he would have been the first person to laugh his ass off at that. Because I got shitty drunk. I made a joke, which apparently frightened a lot of people. I made a joke about taking a poop in the sandbox because there was like a playground. And I was joking. I was like, if he were here, he would want to go take a shit in that sandbox. And he would have. He would have said the same thing. Not doing it, but just, it's fucking humor. God, get over it. And so I did that, and the people started looking at me strangely. I know that. They tried to get me to eat, but I wouldn't eat. And so at some point in the evening, after a few beers and like a big gulp sized freaking scotch, I I ended up taking off across the lawn. And apparently nobody saw me, or they didn't come after me when I took off across the lawn. And so, long story short, I was found several hours later sleeping off under a pine tree. I was just like passed out under a pine tree in the park. It was fine, but people were apparently very concerned. And so that's how I ruined the memorial service and got blocked from all of our social medias. And yeah, that's pretty much the story. So after that, it got even more interesting, but not go into that. I ended up in jail the following morning. But I don't take any responsibility for that. I didn't do anything. It wasn't my fault. It was all somebody else's responsibility. It wasn't me. I wasn't even there. I don't remember any of it. Okay, so now I'm making. I guess this is like a. Well, it could be anything really. It's kind of a structure. It's almost a structure. You have two legs, and then it has the. dark sense of humor is amazing, and I've wrestled with the best of them. So JD, he was one of those guys. Like, I don't know, you just had that connection. When you have the connection with certain people, they can call you out of the blue, and they don't even know you're depressed, right? And they just say something to you that, to a lot of people, would probably be very offensive. But to me, it just makes me laugh and it snaps me out of that depression. And so we had that relationship for a long time. It was something that I definitely appreciated, but can't fix everybody. I couldn't fix him. And I think, that's the hardest part. There's a lot of people look at me. Well, yeah, I was trying to be there to help him with the situation he was dealing with, and I knew that he was having this problem, but at the same time, I had my own shit going on, which he was well aware of. And I was like, hey, like, during the process, it wasn't like bullshit. Like, I was like, hey, I'm going to lose my storage facility. And then I lost my storage facility and everything in it. And he was there for that. So it wasn't like I was sitting there just shining him on. Like, we were there together. he saw that shit happen. Well, you'll get your stuff back. But, I can't get back all those, the pictures, the recordings of him and I, of my kids. I can't get all that back. That's irreplaceable shit. It's gone. And I think that was also part of the guilt he felt, kind of realizing that he had taken part in that, and I was trying to help him, you know. Um, and so I wasn't trying to put that off on him, which was why I just left. I left. I was like, hey, I'm not equipped to help you. Clearly, if I can't fucking maintain my own shit, then I'm not equipped to help you here. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to come back. And then I was gone for a couple months, or yeah, it was about 2 months at that point, I guess, since I had been back. And he called me a couple days before. I could tell he was fucked up. And just, checked in, said no hard feelings. So we weren't on bad terms when it happened. I mean, we weren't on the best terms, but, he'd said he understood that I needed to do what I needed to do for my kid at that time. And I told him I was going to do my best to try and make it back up there, but it just wasn't quick enough, And yeah. And then after it happened, it was like the weirdest thing because I showed up there to get that stuff, and his girlfriend never, ever liked me, never showed me an ounce of affection, breaks down in tears and hugs me. And I'm like, my son was there, my son's mom was there, and I was like, this is awkward. And my son's mom even asked me, like, I don't know, she was like, did she ever, like, I was like, no, she's like a totally, like, she's never touched me. Like, she's never been anywhere near me. So I thought it was sincere at the time, I really felt like it was a sincere show of grief on her part, but I always felt she was kind of a fucking narcissist, So, and looking back at it, I do think that's what it was. Like she was trying to make a show for me and for my son's mom, like to act like she had some fucking empathy that I don't think she ever really possessed. At least, not as far as I could see it. Because who would do that? And then a week later, go back, basically disown this person, me, over getting drunk at a funeral. Getting drunk at a funeral was like the highest crime I could commit. It's like, no, I've done a lot worse shit. Like, I have pissed on your carpet, lady. Like, you're gonna be mad about this? But maybe that makes it easier for some people too, because really, outside of knowing him, she and I had no reason to have any type of social connection. Like, there's nothing there. So you'd be like, well, this is the easiest way to cut this cord. Like, you got drunk at the funeral, so fuck him. What's up, William? Thank you, William. Big bro, everybody. No, I just went on a tangent about that. I guess, just a story to tell. I don't know what I'm here doing, but oh yeah, I guess I could do like over an hour here just fucking around. Just fucking around. Oh. What happened? Where is it? Fuck, fuck, fuckity, fuck, fuck, fuck. I thought I. Damn it. Streamer, it's just not playing today. It's like, you need to slow down, sir. You're moving entirely too fast for this device. I did have that lick of cocaine, so that could explain it. Just a little extra giddy because I got that freaking dirty cocaine bag off the street. It was cocaine, but it was only like trace amounts. Like I don't even think that would show up on a drug test. Sorry, that was a big cough. Yeah, no, it's my phone. I don't blame StreamYard. I know it's my phone, but it could be better. Um, yeah, I haven't found those. You can definitely find some, as I said, some videos on YouTube if you search those up. Although if you look up Civilized Beasts, I think the primary thing that's going to come up is an Aliens versus Predator. Like we call that. It's like a mini series. It's like an offshoot of the Aliens and Predators series. But then if you search Civilized Beasts Captain Chaos, then you get all that stuff. Or Unholy Roman Empire, that's pretty much, I think we kind of had, or at least last time I checked, we had the monopoly on that name. Which I think is amazing. I came up with that name in like 2006 and nobody ever used it. Just like Civilized Beast, just like Trusty Apes. And every time I looked it up, it was like there's no reference to it. And I came up with those names fucking almost 20 years ago. They were all on one list of potential band names, and then so every time I'd come into a new group of musicians, just be like, "Hey, check out this list. Do you guys like any of these?" And then some of them stuck, and some of them didn't. There's like 30 or 40 possible band names, and we ended up using a lot of them. No Right Turn was on there, Trusty Apes, the Triple Hate Conspiracy, Civilized Beasts, Unholy Roman Empire. We had there was another group. Oh, Genrecide, that was on there. Some of them ended up becoming song titles rather than the names for the groups, or so those ended up just becoming songs. But yeah, it was like a whole thing I did in high school. Like I just compiled a list. I was like, think of all the best possible band names that you could think of, and they were all on there. And then ended up using quite a few. I was proud of that. I lost that list too, but I can remember a lot of them. You can be somewhere boring. That doesn't. Look what I'm doing. Fucking playing with Legos over here in my room. Pretty much, if I'm not doing this, I'm gonna end up like probably watching a movie and taking a nap, which I may do on stream. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We have to be mindful of the battery. 76% now, so not bad. But yeah, I still have no data on my Chromebook, so I can only like look at the files that are in there, but you can't surf anything. I can't share screen on mobile, so everything's boring over here. Regular, everyday, normal life. Like I have to combat my own boredom. Oh, you found the unholy outtakes? Oh no, that one. So my ex had her camera set up and it had an old school tape in in the actual recorder. So there is a tape glitch on there. But yeah, we did a shoddy version of Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers, which I thought was I've been trying to do that for years. So it was like the fact that they were willing to attempt it was great for me. So but I think that's just me and Perry from Trusty Apes. Jesse wasn't playing on that one. He comes in after that. And we're doing Unchained Melody though, and then my ex and my daughter and her kid walk in. They just walk right through the shot. Yeah, that stuff's still up. A lot of the stuff's on the Sunny D channel. There's some on my channel, Kevin Chaos. Can't recall. I know JD has his own YouTube account, JD Beast, but again, I don't know if that's up anymore, or probably not. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you've been on the Kevin Chaos channel, Tobin. A lot of people don't know about it. I still try to link it. I have no access to edit or moderate anything on there, so I just view it like you do. Since I've lost access to the email account associated with that YouTube account, so that's why I can't run it anymore. Yeah, that was my original YouTube account. Like many things I've lost access to over the years. But it's good to know that stuff that I make still floats around the internet and people can still find it. It's always good to know. All right, it's going to drain your phone battery then. No worries. I thought I put the link in the comments like way earlier, and then I was like, oh yeah, I didn't even post a link to this. It's just me talking, listening to some outtake tracks I have recorded here. Active for 2 years. Oh, so they will eventually shut that channel down. I should try and go download those videos so I don't lose them, because there's a lot of content that I will never be able to reproduce out of there. I've made appeals to them to try and get me access to that, as well as the other Kevin Chaos YouTube channel that got deleted, which is obviously when I started doing these videos on. But we've just never been able to resolve it for whatever reason. So it's weird because like on my Chromebook, I have to have 2 separate accounts. So I have the Trusty Ape account that I use now, but if I open up the other one, the Trusty Ape Co account, which is my original email, basically when I get on there, I can check the emails. I can do certain things with my Google account, but I can't surf YouTube at all. It will not let me on YouTube unless I go into incognito mode. That's a different email account than the one associated with that Kevin Chaos channel we're talking about. That is an old NetZero account from like over 15 years ago. NetZero no longer exists, right? There is no NetZero, yet I still have a NetZero account associated with that YouTube channel that I can't access. So that's the situation there. So we got live notifications, R and Raw. Oh, I'm seeing texts. I'm getting all kinds of notifications. John and Vaughn are live if you're interested in that type of shit. Lord of Patriarchy, Nadine Callan, R and Raw, and these are upcoming. R and Raw and Ryan Roger FA. Both be doing live videos in about a half hour. Yeah. Oh, you're listening in. So, well, I'm still complaining, but I'm not complaining about, whatever they're complaining about, I guess. No, I'm not working. If I was working, I was supposed to be there at 7 in the morning. Um, and after the events of the last couple of days, yeah, I'm not surprised, especially considering that email I got that I still need to respond to from Friday. Um, so, so that's going to be a thing. I'm going to end up having to, do what I didn't want to do and call this guy out on his behavior because he wanted to contact management. So now we're going to have that scrap. We're going to have that battle. First of all, as I already said, if the motherfucker wanted to find me, it's fairly easy to find me. If you pull your head out of your ass, you can find somebody. But if you go in there and you just expect people to be waiting on you, you're probably not going to find anything. And if you go complain about that, somebody might call you out on the fact that you didn't even attempt to find the person that you were supposedly looking for. You walked in, you made an assumption, and you called your boss. No investigation. No, yeah, no, no, sir. Um, and like I said, I don't play those games. I don't fuck around with that shit. I'm not over here fucking trying to fucking police my own people. The most part, I go in there and I fucking, I observe the situation and I do my job. And then I have people trying to call me out for doing my fucking job. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've tried playing drums off and on over the years for No Right Turn, Civilized Beast, URE. Like, well, yeah, there's some stuff out there with me drumming. I'm just not like the best, but I always put my all into it. Singing and drumming is hard. Originally, that was what I wanted to do. And so like the Phil Collins, type of thing going on, and there's not a whole lot of frontmen or vocalists who play the drums. So I always thought like, super fascinating, be great to try. But it's difficult. I mean, more difficult, I think, than any other position. I mean, you're trying to keep the rhythm and sing. It's it's taxing, but it's worth it. Like when you pull it off, it's so rewarding. Um, so yeah, I like initially like not a lot of people really had confidence in me. My friend Chris, who I formed No Right Turn with, uh, he was the first one who was like, because I had the drum kit, and I was like, well, I can just play sessions on recordings since we don't have a drummer right now. And he goes, no, fuck it, you're the drummer, just be the drummer. And I was like, okay. So I started like working that way, and basically just like freestyle riffing it. Like anytime he'd come out with something, I would just kind of play my heart out, but I was always focused on being that second vocalist. Initially, I was the lead vocalist. He didn't even want to sing, and then when he started singing, I was like, okay. So we'd switch off, and we had that dynamic, and then we just started singing all the songs together, and we became to have like a really really good vocal harmony between us in that way. And basically, I could look at him and I could read his mind. And he could look at me and he could read my mind. And like, even when we changed parts of the songs in improv, like, you just look over and know that it was going to happen, and it would just like effortless. So he was the one who initially convinced me to play the drums, like full time at that time, and it didn't really happen again until we formed Civilized Beast. So when Jesse and I started doing Civilized Beast stuff, since he was writing the guitar parts, I said, well, I've been playing the drums for a while now. Let me see if I can do the drums for metal, because I've been doing the drums for punk music. But now I want to see if I'm like capable even of like pulling off a metal beat. And and so I was pretty shaky at first, but he had a lot of confidence in me. And so then that was how I started playing the drums and singing full time while he would write and orchestrate the music and write some of the lyrics as well. So I could kind of just focus on that. And that was our formula for a while. And he was playing in drop tuning, which I hadn't really experimented with at that time. And so once he kind of figured out his drop tuning, I improvised and I learned to play guitar behind him. So then I would go back, we'd have the drum and the rhythm guitar track, and I would go back and I would track in a lead where I would learn to play over him, but I was still in my standard tuning, so I'd have to kind of play the chords differently, and so we had a dynamic there. Put in bass and lead guitar, and then so we had our first few recordings that way, which were really decent for what they were. We're just using a tape deck, you know. So, but yeah, I never really considered myself like a full time drummer. I always kept saying, well, this is temporary. This is always till we find somebody who's more competent. And that just never really happened. And the longer it kept going on, like the more they just kept telling me, like, no, you're a drummer. You're you're like I didn't believe it. Like they kept trying to convince me of like your drumming's fine. I was like, my drumming is not fine. It's like it's subpar, you know. But yeah, I guess eventually I just kind of had to accept it. I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm a drummer. And then so by the time we get on the genre side, I'm stationed in that. I was like, all right, I'm playing drums for this part of the set. I'm playing guitar for this part of the set, and there is no, there was no part of me that was not confident in my abilities to play the songs at least. I'd still be like, well, I'm not the most fantastic drummer in the world, but I could play our shit. So that's something, right? As long as this guy has confidence in my abilities, then I can have confidence in my abilities, and that's really all it is being on a team, right? Um, but even now, like I'm always like, drums were my first instrument. Ultimately, I'm a vocalist. Like I always just consider myself a vocalist and a poet, and like anytime I played an instrument, it's kind of secondary to just the fact that I wanted to sing. And but I love playing now. I love playing just for the sake of playing. Um, a lot more than singing a lot of the time. I used to, take my boombox into the shower and take an extra long shower, and I'd belt out, an album or two while I was in the bathroom, and to the much to the dismay of anybody who's waiting to use the restroom. But but that was my spot, and I just don't do that anymore. I haven't done that in a long time. I rarely sing really, which is kind of odd to me. I've still got a few books here with lyrics, actually like right next to me, some of them, and I haven't written in so long. I don't even remember writing half of the stuff that I do have in here. This time of year gets in your ear and whispers things you needn't hear. The cold of winter plays cruel tricks. The rain falls down like icy bricks. It's only a time, and yes, it will pass, but winter time is a pain in the ass. It's from 2020, apparently. It's depressing. Okay. So yeah, I got that one. I haven't written anything in a while though. These are all older. Here's that story that I was writing in 2017, 18, 19. Apparently, time flies. I haven't worked on this story in a long time. I was supposed to publish this one. I was talking to Michaela Miller about that a couple of years ago. She was going to help me edit and publish it, and I never finished it. Read Nietzsche. Your thoughts are always your own. They're just never on time, and once they arise, we're one stop behind. Limericks. lot of this is pretty depressing. Oh yeah, I remember I wrote this one. I think I recorded this one. It was like a punk anthem. It's about buying 2 beers for $3, which I did this morning. So that one's never gonna get old. 2017. I filled almost this whole book, most of it, 3/4. Alright, I might as well just read this since I'm here looking at it, because I haven't read it in a while, so. It starts with a quote from Bad Religion. "Oh, can't you hear it, brothers, and don't you want to go, and leave this world of sorrow and trouble here below? Let our scene open, fade in from black into a room, with white walls like eggshells, and red floors and accents, a dark, dense wooden furniture, all lit by candlelight. The piano sits open on the far side of the room, and opposite the door, there he sits." Part 1. By all means. Chapter 1. The hero? I sat on the narrow wooden bench with my back to the piano, facing the door with my elbows perched upon my thighs and my cheeks lying in the palms of my hands. I looked, but I did not see. My vision was unfocused, but gazing towards the floor in front of me. What I saw in my mind's eye all the while was an image of the only one I'd ever truly loved, with a figure so elegant to drive even a hardened man to emotional torment. My sight came to clarity, focusing drearily upon the floor. The pattern was hexagonal, at a dull white shape against the vivid red. In contrast, my eyes shifted upward, and my senses turned to the smells. My nostrils flared as the hairs within them curled, and my eyes rested finally upon the door. A smell, familiar but not quite identifiable to me at present. Unrest befell me, and my eyes danced. My nostrils flared again, and my fingers moved slightly up to the bridge of my nose and rubbed my eyes, then slid back down and rested again. The red was like blood, iridescent and illuminated by the lights of many candles burning down ever so slowly on the mantel. Near the doorway, upon the piano, the dresser, and the mirror, 13 of them were lit in all. I saw all of them whilst not looking. My gaze was again upon the white, faded, and misshapen hexagon within the red stitch, which appeared to be stained or tainted, though it was not. The smell, maybe flowers, maybe rain. Tap, tap, pitter-patter, the sounds. I thought of her. Pitter-patter, tap-tap. The smell, now blood and whiskey. My nostrils flared and my forehead rose up, my eyebrows scrunched. Knock, knock, knock. Was that the door? I blinked, but I didn't move. I thought of her. The smell was like roses in an outdoor garden after the rain, when the spoiled brown petals had fallen and they all drop and sag and hang, not so prettily as when they first bloomed. A dank, semi-sweet, semi-fermented, wafting odor, which mixed one's emotions about the sense, kind of bittersweet, but in a way that makes one's eyes water and ears ring simultaneously. But that was not all. Knock, knock. Again? Could this be real, or could it be a trick of the mind, as it had been so many times before? I hadn't heard so much as the chirp of a bird or the bark of a dog all day, yet alone the creak of the floorboards, save the creak of the front door as my neighbor left for church this morning, and I hadn't seen a visitor in my home for months, nor spoken recently to any family or acquaintances of whom I could recall. What reason would bring a visitor to my foul hovel on this dreary afternoon? I thought of her. There was a knocking at the door. It's just a story I was writing. It goes for a while after that. I don't know. I don't have the working title is A Tale of Human Suffering, but I don't know. It's probably that probably won't get most people's attention.
I don't want to hear a tale about suffering.
But that's what it was. I don't know. Welcome back, Tobin. Hopefully, tomorrow I'll get a hot spot. We'll see. We'll see. I feel I was like number 200 on the waiting list when I went down there the other day. But they said they have those floating ones that just kind of like check out as they become available. But I have to kind of keep going down in there every day But if I come up in line, after 200 other people for the regular hotspot, then they'll like actually call me and be like, "Hey, your hotspot's ready." Cool. All right, let's have to wait until that happens. I got a bunch of kids' books. This one's actually a lot longer than I thought it would be. Oh, yeah, this is from the school library. It's called The Great Gerbil Roundup. Looks interesting. I like kids' books. I don't get back into them. I read so much, adult fiction, non-fiction, depressing shit. All right, I guess I could go into some more of the story. Page 5. I actually numbered the pages here. Okay. This is the interlude. There was a knocking at the door. More than a year had passed since I'd seen her. Her slender figure with long dark brown hair and braids reaching down her back, perfect petite behind in that skirt. As she strutted through the door, after those cruel final words and a harrowing laugh, that wasn't her, not the she that I knew. I had begged and even cried, but she was pitiless. And all the time I had loved her, and she knew. So that was that, and here I sat, lonely and idle. Sure, I'd had a few friends, but they quickly tired of my self-loathing, squalor, and went on their ways. I had burned every photo, every letter, every lock of hair. I could not erase her image, for it were burned into my brain, seared in me through time and space, and I knew it would always be that way. Return. Wait. What is this? I've got some weird notations here. We walked hand in hand down the avenue past the cemeteries. This is a separate chapter that I haven't, because I crossed out the thing and I put a note. Past the cemetery towards the old duck pond at the Memorial Park. It was autumn and weather was mild. All the houses on the street were well maintained, and through many open curtains families could be seen just setting in for supper, watching television. Every so often my eyes would fix on them, and it would make me smile inside, seeing them together like that. Being with her, that's a discombobulated thought. I looked over at her, feeling fresh blood rise up to my ears and cheeks, and I winked. She smiled and giggled a little, and she tightened her grip on my hand as the smell of roses filled the air. When we got to the park, we laid down on a blanket near the pond, and we nibbled on sandwiches, throwing bits of crust out to the ducks, who were swimming gaily and watching us. We kissed and peeled and ate citrus fruits, tossing the rinds into some bushes. Her lips pursed and she blushed. Her eyes twinkled, sparkling, blue. Her eyes were blue.
The ringing, knock, knock, knock. I smiled. She breathed in and began to speak. Knock, knock. There's something I have to tell you, she said, looking down at her hands. The ringing, knock, knock, knock. My eyes began to tear up, and the ringing in my ears became a scream. Chapter 2. The Visitor. We all stared at the bodies, all lined up on those metal tables with plastic sheets over and underneath them. Most of us didn't speak or even breathe as we entered. You couldn't see their faces, just the outlines, the general size and shape of them. Other than that, they were indistinguishable. 66 corpses waiting to be given their names, as those who had loved and known them were forced to brutally confirm which was obviously true. 66 souls bound for a destination to which they were never to arrive. Fate couldn't have it. Not that day. Knock, knock. I know you're in there. 1. I opened the door, and she was standing there with her hands on her hips and her head tilted to the right, her dark hair soaking wet and strewn about her face. Her outfit conformed snugly to her slender figure, and her brown boots looked much too large compared to her dainty body. What took you so long? She asked. I took a moment to answer, stepping aside and motioning for her to come in. Pulling her coat from her narrow shoulders, I said, I was just having a little nap. Guess I must have dozed off. I tickled her side with my index finger, and she giggled and blushed. I hung her coat as she sat down on the couch. Second interlude. At first, all I saw was a finger, hanging, lonely, curled and gnarled, one might say. It looked blue and cold. My brain urged me to reach out and touch it, but I fought that desire. One by one, we filed in down the long hanger. The tables were metal, shiny. Some people wept. Most of us just stared blankly, awkward and mortified. My eyelids twitched, and I felt a chill as the hairs on the back of my neck stood up on end, and I felt an electric shock inside my stomach. I closed my eyes for a moment, then opened them again. A gift for Mother. Is it all right if I sit down? She asked. Her lips were still trembling. Water dripped from her long bangs down the front of her face. She wiped her eyes with the backs of her hands. By all means, I said, motioning towards the sofa. She smiled and sat down, folding her hands in her lap. I was about to ask her if she wanted something to drink, tea or cocoa maybe, but she began to speak suddenly, staring at her folded hands. I have something to tell you, and she paused and breathed deeply. That's not going to be either for either of us. I smiled. I didn't know why I was smiling, but strangely I couldn't help it. She paused for a while, and I stood motionless, anticipating, my mind in a tangle of perplexing thoughts. Finally she looked up at me and said, Maybe you should sit down too. She patted the seat beside her with one open palm, smiled a little, but tight and awkward as if forced. My face got red, although I wasn't aware of it, but I knew because her smile slowly faded, and she looked back down into her lap, where she knotted her hands together tightly. It's about your mother, she said, as I sat down in the seat next to her. Something's happened. There's been an accident. She forced herself to look into my eyes, and I could feel what she was going to say as she breathed in. She didn't make it. She's Another pause. She's gone. She finally finished, beginning to sob a little and then more, until she was weeping. Just then I took her in my arms, and she buried her face in my chest, and her hair, smelling strangely sweet, as it always had. We forgot the space that had grown between us just then, if only for a few moments. Chapter 2. The Dream. As we rode in the car, I dozed off again. It was 3 hours from my apartment to the airport. That's where they had taken the bodies. I still hadn't managed to shed a tear. I only felt the weight of sleep smothering me. Down, down. I was vaguely aware I had begun to dream. I looked to my right. She was driving. "I just want you to know," he said, sweat dripping off his brow, a certain callous stoicism in his eyes. "I'm going to get away with this. They're never going to catch me, and," he paused, "I'm sorry for that." I woke in a cold sweat, the whirring of the fan loudly playing in my eardrums. My eyes and nose shot open suddenly and simultaneously, sweat stinging my dry peepers, water molecules forming along their edges, and the hair and nostrils flaring. My nose may have even twitched as it caught the sour stench of sweat and damp sheets. My stomach ached. My blurred vision came to focus. I saw a pattern in the popcorn stucco on the ceiling, eggshell colored by a shadow. First the face of a man, smiling. His beard was evident, and his nose was this Jesus? Pointed. He looked left, then right, then disappeared. A larger form took shape, a lighthouse and a ship rolling along the waves towards the coastline just out of reach of them. No, no, just the ceiling. A tear fell from the corner of my right eyeball, and my hand instinctively moved to wipe it away. I breathed, and the smell was death. Part 3. The Truth. If we were being honest, I should say that I knew that she had never really loved me. No, a woman such as she is incapable of ever truly experiencing romantic love, true compassion. Her affection was always superseded by her vanity, and if she didn't know entirely what she wanted, then she certainly knew all that she did not want in life: discomfort, disquiet, poverty, ill repute, all of these her more primary concerns. "What will mother and father think?" she would ask, and I'd say, "To hell with your parents." She'd grow cold. This would only serve to enrage me further, but I knew that if she had been successful, I hadn't received my inheritance at 21, she never would have looked twice at me. She could never understand me, nor I her. However, my particular duality may be a sight more sinister than most. I always felt her presence restrained me from losing myself into it entirely, becoming Mr. Hyde, so to speak. But I always wondered, could she be so dense so as to not notice my oddities at all? Or was it wilful ignorance? Was it a maintenance of the facade which we both participated in, calling it life? She had to know there was a reason we could never be married or have children after all of these years. Did she think I had other lovers? Well, just for the record, I did not. But I do have my peculiarities, nonetheless. Which is where my story begins to unravel a bit, you see. One of my peculiarities is that I have some trouble distinguishing my waking life from the one in my dreams. Sometimes I confuse the two, call people by different names, or awake in strange places without recollection of how I'd come to be there. That sort of thing. Some others, too. Sorry, I just need to wet my whistle. Alright, this chapter is entitled August. I'm going to go through several months here. The narrative, I guess. Up the Chiba all day long. Yeah, I don't know. I think with some revision, I could edit this and put it out. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever written, um, but I haven't finished it yet. It's let's see, how far did I get? Maybe stop numbering the pages here. 81. I've got 85 pages so far. All right, August. I remember the last time I saw my mother. It was warm and damp and the sky was overcast. I think it was a Thursday or Friday, just after my birthday. That's August 14th. She was ill, weeping, and depressed. I found her demeanor appalling. I asked her not to make a spectacle, if only for my sake, but this drove her to sob more. I had to excuse myself to the restroom at this juncture. My father had been dead more than 6 years, but mother would still often go into these inconsolable fits. She seldom left the house, and when she did, it was to visit the church where they were married, or the mausoleum where his ashes were kept, and she cried some more. She wouldn't eat, often resorting to IVs and vitamin supplements prescribed by the doctor. He said she was mildly anemic, but we all knew the truth. Her face was ghostly white, and the spots around her eyes dark gray and purple. She had cut her hair off up to the base of her neck after the funeral and never bothered to brush it out. Her fingernails were long, unkempt, not polished, and stained like her fingers with tobacco. She had blisters where the cigarettes had burned down to her skin. They were calloused from the repeated abuse and somewhat resembled warts. When she touched him, her hands felt leathery and almost like gnarled wood or dried animal skins. She scarcely resembled a living person, let alone his beloved mother. I pictured her then as she had been in the years before, so full of life, before she was so ready to die. I shuddered at what we'd become. I don't know what made me suggest it just then. The sad look in her eyes, the emptiness. Despite my revulsion towards her present state, I still saw some piece of the woman who had made me, which made my guts churn with a sense of seldom felt compassion. My usual state of apathy, disturbed, perhaps made me think of the palm trees, just an island. It could have been any island, really, but I blurted out all at once in the midst of her ramblings about the smells of loneliness. I said, "You should go to Hawaii, mother. You've always wanted to." She had so fondly spoken of a trip she would one day take to the islands in years past, but father was terrified of flying, and she had kept putting it off. I doubt the thought had crossed her mind in the last 6 years or more. For a moment she only blinked, still staring at the empty wall to my right, a light coffee textured um, with old wooden baseboards. Okay, probably fix that. And said dryly, maybe, so it's a brown house, right? And said dryly, maybe, then sighed. And she said dryly, maybe, then sighed. I can do this. I can perform my own audio. It's great. Let me finish this one. This one's a little bit longer. Okay. Luckily, I think all the tears had been drained from her body by this time. Then she looked at me, squinting, and she opened her mouth, drawing a short breath, and looking as if she meant to say something. Then she closed her lips tightly and looked left again at the barren wall. The shadows of flames from the fireplace, licking it, dancing in vibrant patterns and twirling. I glanced at it and back again at her, growing impatient. I tried my most even tone of voice. "The change of scenery will be good for you, mother. It's been a long time." "I know how long it's been," she muttered abruptly, contempt in her voice, probably towards my condescension, as if to let me know that even in this state her mind remained sharp as a tack. She was distraught, widowed, but not stupefied after all. She couldn't ever articulate it, but I know that she lost all will to live in that moment when he died. Of course she couldn't say that now. She had always railed against such weakness. In all the years before, fight fiercely for what you believe, she'd say. Always stick up for your family. But now this shadow of herself was only bound to the act of living for fear of hypocrisy, and her grief was her only companion. She looked at me again and said, with scorn in her eyes now, will you ever tell me what really happened that night? So many years and your father gone, can you finally tell me the truth, for once? She stared straight at me, strands of her thin dark hair, with streaks of white and gray streaming over her face and her features sunken and still. My heart skipped a beat and I swallowed deep in my throat, struggling to take my next breath. No, I thought to myself, I would never tell her or anyone the truth about what happened on that night in question, nearly 10 years ago. That secret would die with me and my father, but I couldn't say that. I couldn't open my mouth and say the words to her face. I wasn't afraid, I was ashamed. I wished it could I wish I could erase it all. Start over. Try again. Mother, I began to speak. Oh, save it, she spat, looking away again. Always mother, mother with you. She raved a bit now, the inflection in her voice rising only a little. It was her body language that told her anger. She clenched her fists on the arms of her chair, and her head jerked and shook as she said, as long as you keep this damned secret of yours, you're no son of mine. A traitor is what you are, and a damned fool. It makes me wish you died in my womb instead of your brother, really. I don't know why you come here. I love you, mother, I said. She sneered at the wall, then looked back at me, her expression blank again. If you love me, she said evenly, then you'll leave me to die in peace. That's all I want. Then she gazed into the fire. All right, well, I guess let's leave that there. So yeah, maybe I don't know, might be worth publishing or something. Get the finer points of that worked out. So. I don't know. Used to write sometimes a little bit. Confidence, have confidence. Yes, I'm a writer. I do this professionally. I'm a professional. I don't know. Yeah, it is fucking hot out, right? Isn't it? It's even hot where I am. I went outside today in a t-shirt and sweats, and I was like I'm right next to the water. It's not supposed to be this fucking hot. Glad you're finally going home. See, I'd like to tell you what happened in the story, but I can't, because then you won't buy the book, right? Like, if I tell you what happens now, then you won't buy it when I publish it. Give spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Well, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious at this point his mom dies on the plane, right? That's kind of we know that, right? I hope I've already you got that part, but the timeline's all screwy, right? So we do like that whole like Quentin Tarantino thing, but there's more to it. There's a bit more to it. So yeah, I like that element of mystery. Um, and it keeps you kind of guessing what's going on and what time and place we're at. Yeah, she's the body under the sheet. I mean, I'll spoil that one, but that's not the most interesting part of the story. It's just kind of the catalyst to the full. Yeah. But yeah, mother gets arrested. She's not a very nice woman. Um, I haven't dealt with that in my personal life. You know, my mom's a very compassionate person, but I've met some people where that's looking like, whoa, psychologically profile that motherfucker, mommy dearest, right there. But the more important point there, I think, is the man, has a loyalty to his mother, right? But in reality, he feels betrayed to his father, right? Because he's got this secret that he has to keep with his father. It's actually the only thing that's like, like obviously his mom fucking hates him. So, but then he does this other thing, and that's where it like gets a little dicey there. But it's a it's a not quite a, I guess you call it like a psychological thriller. It's not quite a murder mystery, um, but there is murder and there is mystery. Um, but mainly this guy, like he says earlier, he can't distinguish from what he's actually done and what he's dreamed about doing, and that I've had issues with before, like in my past. Like, I have some trouble sometimes distinguishing like my actual life, my waking life, from like what occurs in my dreams or my daydreams or something like that, where I get too scrambled up a little bit. So there's like elements of real people in all those characters, and that's kind of the way I write. Like all of it's a little bit of me, but then I just get these other ideas. I don't stuff. I should take one of those writers courses or something. Well, once I finish it, I'll put it up. I appreciate that. It's still a work in progress. Like I said, I got like 85 pages I think done here, and I just kind of just stopped and I started another story, which is in the Chromebook, which is kind of like almost it's got a similar plot line I think, but it's got some. Well, let's see. Yeah, it's got some differences, and this is the one I sent to Michaela. Was that one which I was typing, and then I still have it in here. I looked at this one forever. Let's go to the end. Oh, come on. Maybe it is in my documents. Be able to read that offline. Oh yeah. Yeah, The Waking Dream. But this one's actually a screenplay. I wrote this as a screenplay, so it's a different story. Part 1. I'm standing in a room. I'm dreaming, and I know that I'm dreaming. I look down at my hands and then my feet. I'm in the living room. The shades are drawn and it's dark. The room is familiar to me, but I don't remember how I got there. There's the dim light of a lamp shining to my right, and I look over at it. And then the couch. My mother is sitting on the couch. She stares blankly, vacantly, without any expression, and her mouth is agape. Mom, I say aloud, what are you staring at? I wave my hand in front of her eyes with an open palm, but no response. Then I turn to see what she is looking at. Suddenly, the room is flushed with light, vibrant yellow golden light, and I hear a shriek, almost inaudible. And then I wake up. And then there's an internal monologue. Dude's a security guard. Boring ass job. He goes through the day. Yeah, so it's kind of like a different story, but with kind of a similar setup. But this is written as a like a screenplay, because I have been wanting to make this into a short film, which would basically be like most of it's just super boring, like, but then there's those shock moments. I want to do the whole thing to a musical set, and then yeah, you just gotta have that one big special effects moment. That one big special effects moment where basically in his dream, this is what happens. The wall opens up and like so the whole side of the house just disappears, right? And he's looking out onto a field, and there's like women and children playing out in this golden field, and then the mother figure, her head explodes into fire, like her whole head just like spontaneously combusts. But she's like gripping his arm, like keeping him there, and he's trying to like run out into the field. And so that's the whole, yeah. It's I had an actual dream of this, and so I tried to like re articulate it like into a story. I thought that would make a great fucking short horror film. Like if you could do that, but like the special effects are just. I mean, it's really just the one scene, but it's mind-boggling. Like you think about it, like there's the dark room. You're looking at the wall, and then the wall just, pew, it's gone, right? And then you're looking out on a big field, the women and the children, and then you're trying to go towards it, and the mother's just holding you back, and then her head just explodes into flames. And it was pretty fucking terrifying when I dreamed it. So I was like, that would be pretty fucking epic. Like if you could get that down on film. So yeah, I don't know, this short film idea type of thing. Do I have mommy daddy issues? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe everybody has mommy daddy issues. We're all just in denial. But I mean, it tends to work its way into stories. I mean, it's fucking fiction, you know. But I did have a dream, and yeah, I was just trying to kind of looked at this in a long time. Overview of my argument for establishing a new constitution in the United States. I always imagine this is why the Kevin Chaos channel got taken down, because I did like a 3-part series on abolishing the Constitution. Really, I do feel like that. Like, you know, like I said, my mom's like a compassionate person. She's always been there for me, but in a way, she has always interfered in my fucking relationships. You know, one way or another. So I love her, but you know, like I think if that element wasn't there, I would have probably had more success in my relationships because my mom always ends up showing up when I'm involved with somebody, and then she has a problem with them, and so then we have a fucking problem, and you know, it's never like it's usually something avoidable. Usually something avoidable. That's what I can say, at least in my mind. There's some people that you know will fall back and say, "Well, I should have known better." Like my mom didn't like her in the first place. That should have been my red flag. But I'm like, no, your mom's probably not gonna like most of the people you're with, and you know that's just a mom thing. Like, but you don't like live to appease your mom. Like once you get with a partner, you know you should be a lot more concerned about that partner if you think you've chosen wisely. You know, I mean, you know, you could be in doubt about that. You'd be like, maybe I did choose the wrong partner. Maybe I should. But I mean, you know, your parents are going to be biased. Like they're always going to be biased, and they're always, or at least in most cases, they're going to try to hold you back from anything that equals true progress, right? Because true progress that is not like assigned by them, that they didn't do themselves. They want to think, well, I did the right thing to raise my kid. So if my kid does something other than what I would have told them to do, then obviously it must raise question as to your parenting, right? But I don't think that's necessarily the case, right? That's just like a psychological thing that we have to overcome because kids are supposed to do things contrary to what their parents did. In fact, a lot of the time, kids do things inevitably that are contrary to what the parents did simply because they learn new skills and new things about the world that the parent could not have possibly known. They have a new perspective on life, on living, and on society that the parent has no grounding in that, right? Like the parent is subject to their time and place. And once their kids surpass them, that fucks with their head. It messes with them, right? We've got to realize that, you know, for the most part, you know, kids are the ones making progress. It's young people. We have to kind of trust that the society, the people generally have raised up these young people, and they're going to make the next best decision. Of course, they're young. They're going to make a lot of stupid decisions too, but we can't really stop that. We just try to mitigate it. Anytime you try to think, I'm going to make sure that my kid makes all the best decisions, well, that's going to backfire. That's going to backfire on you big time, and you're going to find yourself feeling a failure because you can't make your kids make good decisions. That's just not how it works. You try to instruct them, sure, that's great. But they're going to learn all types of things that you are completely unaware of. As a parent, as an individual, as a teacher, you're just never going to be able to keep up with these. It's just not going to happen. Stop trying. Stop trying. Okay, Boomer. We learned a lot of things the parents didn't know about, I think. I mean, every generation we become more literate about sexuality and religion and all these things. It's just like when they say, well, the nation's becoming more and more atheistic. It's like it has nothing to do with. It's not a cultural issue. It's an issue of people just learning. Like they're literally just gaining knowledge. That's the only reason. And they're like, oh wow, this whole biblical story, it don't make no sense. It doesn't add up. It doesn't comport with reality. And you've just got more young people who are willing to come out and say that. That's all. Nobody's forcing them into atheism. Nobody's convincing them away from Christianity. They're doing it all by them damn selves. They figured it out on their own. Like mystery solved. It must be the gays and the atheists. They're converting all of our children. Help, help, our society is dying. And nothing like that's happening. Kids are just reading the Bible, and they're reading more books, and they're like, this is just a stupid fucking book. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't say anything impactful. Doesn't have it. I don't care. I don't care if Father, Seamus over there is fucking, convinced I'm going to hell. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Oh, it's pretty good for a fucking free roach. Finishing the last of it. So what should happen after this? So the kid gets shot in a drive-by, right? And then there's the cops. They show up. You can't find the guy, right? So what do you think our superhero's superpower should be? Like, so far, he's just a runner with a mohawk. But, I mean, he could have the power to levitate or, yeah, I think flying, that's like every fucking superhero can fly. That's kind of bullshit. Maybe you should be able to like run really fast like the Flash, and then so you can run after the car that did the drive-by. But no. Wait, well, it's a comic book. I can do that. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure this out. Where do I go with this next strip? If you got any ideas, let me know. I'm just gonna do the landscape, grass. The tree's looking fucking funky at this point. I just kind of like half-assed it on the last one, honestly. This is the same fucking tree. I don't like drawing the same fucking tree over and over again. Especially when it's a tree like in front of a dead body. You really want to put more emphasis on the dead body, I think. But the tree is kind of secondary. Your mother told me. So I wrote down at the bottom of this corner of this strip. It says, your mother told me. There's just like random notes. It says, blessings, police and thieves in the street. Your mother told me. It's just like sidebar shit. If you look close enough, you'll find it. Okay, so now we're going to put the emphasis on this tree because the tree has been in like the foreground with the dead body this whole time. But let's just say now we got the tree. Put a little little bit more character into this tree, and then our main character can kind of walk up to the spot where this crime's just happened, because he was just running down the street, remember, so makes sense. He just happens to be jogging along, minding his own business, and then boom, boom, homicide. That's how superheroes work, man. Right place, right time. It'd be a lot more effective if I had colors, but do our best. So now we got the tree in the foreground. I don't even know if I can draw this guy. I know I drew the original character, but I'm saying right now. Starting with pen. That's what I did on the other ones. I'm starting with pen here. I should start with pencil and then pen over it. Usually a good formula. It's basically a stick figure at this point. It's got no definition. Shorts. T-shirt. Just kind of runs with the arms out there. Extended. That looks like way too uniform to be like a real person. Why does he have his hand out like that? Did I see? I drew him with his hand out like. I can't erase it. Fine. Everything's fine. We're all gonna be fine. It's just a freaking comic strip. Oh. I missed the comments. Walking outside in the dark, seeing things that weren't there. Oh yeah, yeah. Shadow people. You gotta watch out for shadow people. But if you're not like high on a lot of drugs and stuff, then you'll probably be all right. I've known people, and they were sufficiently intoxicated, who have freaked the fuck out on some shadow people. Did you see that in the bushes? What was that? Oh my god, who's there? They're freaking the fuck out. You're just like, dude, can you calm the fuck down? Drugs are a hell of a drug. Yeah. And then you got the window peepers, people who are tweaking. It's especially common amongst tweakers. I was gonna say, it's not just the shadow people outside. You could be inside, and then we look at. I've seen people do this. They're peeping out their blinds. We're like, "There's a ninja in that tree," and I'm looking at them like, "Are you fucking for real? Like you're peeking out the corner of your blinds and telling me there's a ninja in the tree?" And they are not joking. Like they are totally fucking serious. People have called the cops for this shit because they're high on drugs and they think they've seen a ninja in the tree. It's probably a squirrel. I don't know. I don't know what they saw, but I definitely didn't see. I see some weird shit out of the corner of my eyes when I was fucking high and up for a couple days, but I never thought there was a ninja in my fucking tree. Just never occurred to me. This was. The best for me is still I remember this vividly because I was shrooming fucking balls. Me and my ex we went down into the creek. We had taken some mushrooms and we're sitting down there. We're messing around, playing in the sand, just whatever. Like, and I'm just sitting there and I heard her rustling in the bushes. And I looked at her and I looked over and I was like, something really over in those bushes. Like I'm not fucking tripping right now, right? Because I had like a really like super intense experience. And so I sit there and I'm looking at it for a minute, and then I see what it is. So it's like in the creek, there's like this little bed of grass, and then there's a beaver dam. Like the beavers live down there, right? And so there's this snake, and it's swimming in the water, and it swims up through the bushes. And then a minute later, you just see all of a sudden this beaver just pops up out of the fucking dam, holding this snake by its neck, and it's swinging this snake back and forth, whipping it around. And then it just fucking turns, does a full like 360, and fucking throws the snake across the creek. And I was like, there is no way I just hallucinated that. Like this beaver just fucked this snake up. Like I watched that. It happened too. Like I tried to get in there after one of its babies or something. The beaver just picked it by its neck, whoop, 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 lassoed it, and fucking tossed it across the creek. The snake went hobbling off up the bank. I was like, what the fuck was that? And I could not tell you. I mean, honestly, like, I hallucinated some crazy shit, but I did not hallucinate that. That really happened. Like, me and my ex were both sitting there watching it. I've never seen some shit like that before or after. It's amazing. Nature is amazing. You just sit there long enough, you'll see something like that. I was like, what's that in the bushes? An angry beaver, apparently. Sounds pretty decently in tune, huh? I was born in the dirt, never had no home, and the places I lay, you don't wanna know. That's Glenn Danzig. I'm Kevin Chaos. And this is the end of the stream, I guess. Thank you, Tobin and Silver Wolf for hanging out. Everybody who came by earlier, I saw Brojo. There's somebody else I needed. Well, you know who you are, and you know where you've been. All right, much love, and we'll see you next time.